my harness free of rot. My sword is sharp, my shield unbound, my pride will waver not. I face my foe, I lay them low, I fight them without fear. If I should fall and walk no more, I shall not shed a tear. But war is cruel, my comrades die, and I go on alone. I will not stop to ask them why. I know I can't go home. I face my foe, I lay them low, I fight them without fear. If I should fall and walk no more, I shall not shed a tear. My back is broke, my armor's rent, my blood is on the field. My sword is gone, my body spent, I lie upon my shield. I faced my foe, they laid me low, but I go with a smile. The labyrinth, it calls to me. I'll wander it a while. The labyrinth, it calls to me. I'll wander it a while. My eyes are clear, my back is strong, my harness free of rot. My sword is sharp, my shield unbound, my pride will waver not. I face my foe, I lay them low, I fight them without fear. If I should fall and walk no more, I shall not shed a tear. But war is cruel, my comrades die, and I go on alone.
Hooray!
That one should now work. Bloody things. Right, cool. Tom, can you say something?
Something, 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 something.
Wonderful. That now works. Brilliant. This is... yes, we can hear you. Good. Right, we're here. Apologies for not... Tiny Tory, but that's not terrifying. Coming to watch the stream and seeing me at an oracle. Ah, which one are you, Tori? Because I don't know. You're that big. I enjoyed making the intro thumb. That was a lot of fun. Tom sent me a load of pictures, and I basically picked the ones that got to form a nice little thing about it. So that was really, really cool. The three, I don't know who they are, but the three women who I have at the bottom, who I've sort of blurred out a little bit, and I've given them a thing, they look terrifying. And they're all probably good guys as well. But no, they're up. Oh, excellent. That's good then. They look really cool. They did look very, very cool. So I'll jump. I don't know. Can you see the stream, Simon?
No, I'm obviously clicking. I'm a bit of a Microsoft idiot, so.
That's all right. What I can do is I can just send you the picture I've used if you want to see it.
Yeah, please.
This will probably make us all vanish because that's just the way that it's decided it wants to do things. Right. Yes, it did. Oh, wait a minute. Has that all come back? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I see it now.
Yeah. Right, I'll turn them up. So, thank you for subbing, Hunt. I've changed all of the GIFs now as well for the stream. So, they're more Hefty Yeti focused. One of them was me. Ah, right, cool. Yeah, you looked all three of them looked awesome. So I really enjoyed doing that. It's nice when I get the chance to put a lot of effort into a thumbnail. And so when can we start asking questions? Whenever you want, hun. I will say, so apologies for not streaming on Friday. Obviously going through a lot of shit. I'm now back and I'm not well. So I've picked up a cold from Helen and
Sad
Lily.
face. Sad face.
Nah, it's fine. So that was so yeah, I'm getting there. Friday we are doing the Make-A-Wish tabletop games. We're starting on Friday with the Femme Werewolf the Apocalypse. So a load of werewolves are going to go kick the shit out of people. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited for that one. So that's going to be cool. And then I don't know, there's other things happening that I've completely forgotten. You know, that's how we roll. But so tonight, very excited about this one because this has been a LARP that me and quite a few people have been wanting to go to for a very, very long time. Tickets are very difficult to get hold of because it's such a popular, very popular LARP. And when the tickets come out, I never have any money. So, you know, but it looks like I'm probably going to drag Digby along and we're going to crew one.
Awesome.
So we're going to come along and do that, have a laugh, and scare the shit out of some people. So we might bring a little team with us, do a two chaps go LARPing chat, a little bit of a behind the scenes thing maybe, and stuff like that. Get people to see what it's all about and have some fun while we're doing it. And watch Digby have a hangover, more than likely. So, Helen's already asked, how long was the planning for the Northern Kingdoms in the planning? It's very in at the moment, but I imagine it took a lot.
I would first start off by saying we started. I think we announced this before the announcement for the series.
Yeah.
So we weren't cashing in on that, but it certainly helped.
Yes, I can imagine.
It was quite coincidental. Planning wise, yeah, good question. I think I sort of when did we start? I think it was just before COVID. I think was our first event. I think maybe like a couple of year and a half, 2 years. I think I sat down and started going through it and going through the planning and everything like that. I think I announced it did a bunch of very open planning on things, and then in response to player feedback or potential player feedback, the rules were changed and modified and things like that. But from the very start, we wanted to do a system that was as rules light as we possibly could, but of course with some mechanics that gave structure to the game. Because I know obviously there are a lot of people that like the Nordic style LARPs where everything is very rules minimal. And then you get the UK side of things. Some of the festival LARPs tend to have a lot more mechanics, and I think I wanted to find a blend between them. Have some rules, but then have elements of the game that could override them and just have a bit more fun with it. So yeah, we took a lot of inspiration from Empire, being very popular. I've had chats with Matt P. Whenever I catch him at like LARPCon or something like that, we normally have a chat about stuff, see how things are going, as LARP organisers do. Obviously, he's got a very different experience to running things than I do. I think I've made some mistakes along the road, but it's about a year and a half.
Nice. So what was it that gave you, I mean, obviously, because I know Tom has read a lot of the books and is a bit of a fan. So what was it? Was it that gave it to you as well? Did you read the books and think, or was it the games, or what made you suddenly go, I know what would be a good idea for a LARP?
That's what I want to do. Yeah. So I started off with the games, and then I listened to the books in the car because I'm a service engineer by trade, so I'm on the road a lot.
Yeah.
So I just listened to the books in the car and things like that. Obviously, sometimes you only catch bits of it because you try and concentrate on the road. I listened to the books and everything. Tom has an almost encyclopedic knowledge of the books, which is essential for the job he does within the game, just heading up the plot writing.
Yeah. I'm getting more like role play or something like that out of Tom now wearing that helmet than I normally do, like when I see him at any LARPs.
Skip to wear that more often.
Yeah, he should take it to work, Tom. See how that goes. That'd be impressive.
Surefire way to get kicked out somewhere, I'm sure.
Okay.
I watched played the games and read the books, and at some point it was like I want to do something because I'd reached a point in LARP where I was playing some of the more popular systems and looking at kit and looking at the rules, going, I think I could probably do a bit better here in some aspects. But what am I going to do? What's going to draw people in? If you design a brand new system, brand new lore, you've got to create that lore and sit down for ages. And I'm not so much a story writer, which is where obviously Tom comes in because he's really good with that. But admin I can certainly do. So I sat down and thought, what will I do? I've toyed with things like Alien or stuff like that, but then settled on the dark fantasy rules like Witcher game. And of course the thought in the back of your mind as well is, the intellectual property, who's going to come after you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If that is a thing in some cases, I know that I crewed for a game system called Bothwell's School of Witchcraft. Really supportive team over there. They were really good. I think some people in the community gave them a bit of stick, but ultimately the game was fun and got a lot of new people into LARP. But that was very Nordic-y style. But because it was in that franchise area of Harry Potter, the Warner Brothers snipers were on this horizon, always watching you in case you mentioned the HP word or any or any
Yeah.
buzzword associated with it. So I approached CD Projekt Red. I sent them an email and said, "Have you got a problem with this?" And they went, "No, just don't use trademarks. Don't call yourself the official Witcher LARP or anything like that." Which is why we're called a Witcher LARP, not the Witcher LARP or anything like that.
Okay, I need to change that then because I've been saying you're the Witcher LARP. So
Yeah, well, we're the only one in the UK currently I know
I
of.
suppose that it is factually it is correct then in this country. So you are the Witcher LARP in this country. So,
But we're certainly not officially sanctioned by Andrzej Sapkowski or CD Projekt Red or anything like that.
yeah,
We don't make money at all. In fact, put my own money into it for the love of the game. So's Tom's put some of his own money into props and things. My other half is constantly on me because I owe her some money, but
that's yeah. I suppose
not much, but
not
enough.
much. No, I know how you feel though because when you love something, you do tend to give a little bit more. It's like doing this with some of the makeovers and stuff like that. I've had to chuck a little bit of my own money into it, but and that just to top stuff up and things like that. It's just little bits. I'm not even talking £100. It's a lot less than that, but it's enough to know that this is what we love doing. So it's nice to hear that you've got the passion behind it because there are people out there who I'm aware of who make LARPs because they want to try and make a bit of cash out of it, and it doesn't work. It doesn't really work. So
it can in the right. Yeah, if you approach it in the right way and things like that. But generally, a lot of it's passion projects and
very very much so. So Helen's asked again, do you have a favourite element of the game? So we'll owe that to both of you because obviously Tom, you write it, so you do a lot of the writing too.
For me, I think it's both. It's a double-edged sword, and it's responding to player requests. So we have obviously referees floating around the player camps and stuff like that. So in between them doing their shenanigans, we'll be thrown in social encounters and things like that. But we also have just referees bimbling around in case they want to do crafting or anything like that. And then we get them coming up to us and going, "Can we do this? Can we do that?" And then we've got to think for a second, like, "Oh, can we fit it in? Can we with the special effects for it? That sort of thing." Because if they want to do a thing and it's within the realms of possibility within the game world, we totally want to be able to facilitate that for them. But then it comes to trying to fit it in, and we go, "Yeah, we could possibly do it. We'll have to come back to you," and then sometimes we have to delay a little bit because the count going out, something like that. And that's the worst bit, is to come back and go, either we can't do it at the moment or it's not possible, but we'll try and factor it into a future event. But I certainly like the creativity of the players. Some of it's a bit out there, but on the whole, it's generally really entertaining to see what they come up with. And some stuff may require us to rewrite some of the plot, which has happened on a couple of occasions. Event 2, we rewrote half of the plot for the weekend on Event 2 because they did something that we did not anticipate whatsoever, and it changed the whole course of the event. So we sat down on the Saturday afternoon and went, right, okay, how does that change? How does that change? How does that change?
Okay, that's cool. That's interesting. Tom?
So I think from a perspective of sort of the plot writing of it, I'd say it was two-pronged. One, it's the free text downtime, because we do that.
Oh, wow, okay.
And I get to flex my muscles and sort of put out these big chunky downtimes and interpret what people have put in front of us and try and weave it all together into some sort of interesting and engaging story. It's rewarding to do as a writing task because it's in some ways it's people paying to read what I've written, which is but sort of to be able to when that goes well, that goes very, very well, and people appreciate it a lot. And the other sort of prong of the thing that I like most about writing for Northern Kingdoms is you sort of, because it's a Witcher LARP and it's associated with all this other sort of really good writing, really good storytelling. There's always sort of a massive drive to think about themes, to write well, effectively. People aren't expecting quests that are go here, collect 6 bandit sashes, come back.
Hello,
There's
adventurer.
there's always got to be a twist and a turn to it. And equally, because it's the world of The Witcher, like everything's got to have some sort of like tainted or unhappy ending to it, which is very suitable for LARPs, since like LARP players, bless them, are bloodthirsty and cowardly and inattentive and LARP characters. And in terms of achieving their goals, like if you're writing in a world that's broken already, not just from the perspective of like, oh, everything's at war and terrible, but sort of broken from that same sort of moral perspective of everything's a little bit grey, everyone's a little bit dirty, and anyone neutral is complicit in the horrors of the world.
Yeah.
Then sort of, it makes it easy to write crumple zones as well. Like writing things that I say makes it easy, but it's rewarding to write crumple zones and write encounters where you can fail forward.
Yeah,
that's probably one of my favourite things about writing for NK.
A lot of it has
really
a
cool.
yes but approach.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of most of my LARP experience. Well, I play a lot of Vampire the Masquerade LARPs, so it's all very social, political, and that is very much you fail forwards in that as well. You've tried to do something, it's failed, but the big bad now knows your name and things like that. So the plot is still progressing, and you're essentially being dragged forward, kicking and screaming, whether you want to or not. So that's really, really cool. I'm very shocked to hear that you do free text downtimes. That's incredible to me, because it's a very much, for a lot of LARPs, you only hear that it's just like, we're doing this, this, and this, and you submit a little bit of a, I don't know, I'm going to go off here, I'm going to go off and do this, I'm going to go off and do that. That's it. But a free text downtime, that's incredible, because I'm only ever used to that for Vampire, because all the shit I used to come up with for that is really nice, and then you get the tailored response. So that's really, really cool. It makes it even more appealing. You bastards.
Well, we the way the form is laid out is that there's a summary at the start of the post-event shenanigans. So during your last event, everyone did this, and this is the outcome. Just to remind them, little blurb, little summary, and then it's just a brief breakdown of what you want to achieve in those 2 weeks. So we have a 2-week downtime block, effectively. So whatever you can do within those 2 weeks, and they're then broken down further into week 1 and week 2. And we have a formed a document to go along with it, which explains what sort of things they can do, and of course, if it's got some structure to what you want to do, it's easy for Tom to then, and the writing team, to then look at those little summaries and go, right, from that I've got an idea of what they want to try and achieve, and then in the narrative it just expands upon what they want to do, and we would try and ask them to limit what they write, and then Tom writes like a novel between events of with all the player downtimes. Yeah, it was like the feedback from it is very, very positive on what you get, things like that. And then at the end, in bold, just as they detail what they want to do, Tom also details at the bottom in bold what they get out of it, mechanically, item wise, unique stuff that they can get. Because another thing we also do is unique player abilities. So we try and give everybody something unique to play with.
Yeah, they're still talking about Tom's helmet. Still finding Tom's helmet terrifying. It's awesome. Solid snail. It was cool as hell in person. That's very cool. It's so, because you mentioned Yennefer, how do you find do you find that a lot of people want to go looking for, I suppose, canon characters in this, or do you try
No.
to avoid that? I suppose
Yeah,
you have
yeah.
to avoid it in a way, don't you?
Yeah. So we this is the sort of thing I'm constantly, and Tom's also reiterating, is that we assume that Geralt of Rivia has done a speed run through The Witcher 3 and has ignored all the side quests. So that gives us loads of latitude to play with all the side quests.
Yeah.
But yeah, all the main protagonists and stuff like that from the games, we just pushed them to the side. Geralt of Rivia, Yennefer of Vengerberg, Triss Merigold, Ciri, they're all doing their important stuff.
Elsewhere.
But the side bit characters like Fringilla Vigo and Duchess of Tucson, which is in the thumbnail picture, they're in there because they're important. They're sort of sub characters, to various bits and pieces, and we can draw on those, to further things along. So they do get that, like, oh, I know I've seen that character, but we don't get people going, I know Geralt of Rivia is my best buddy. He's given me all the stuff, because it is quite easy to draw upon your out of character knowledge in the world of The Witcher. But for the most part, it's not been a problem. People have stuck to the byline of ignore the main characters, and your character knows what your character knows. I've often said that someone comes up to me and goes, I want to play your LARP, but I don't know anything about the lore. I was like, fantastic. That's the perfect character. Be a villager who's never set foot outside their village and come along with a pitchfork and just be a random peasant farmer that's just turned up to make some money and find out the world from there. That's perfect.
That's very cool. So, because I said when I was talking to Tom about doing this, I wanted it to be very much a talk about the game, the rules, the system, and everything like that. Because I think, from what I hear about everything, because Chris, he does a lot of reffing for you, I believe. Oh my God.
It's got a face.
Put it back on. It's wonderful to hear that something has stepped into this world and is playing it as that's all going on over there. We're playing in this bit over here, though. This is the fun bit. You can play through that bit on your own time on the PlayStation and stuff like that. We've got all this here, and you can go off and do all of that. So that's really, really nice to hear, because Galen goes on and on and on about it, and there's a lot of cool stuff. In all honesty, you're making me want to play this even more.
And we're certainly not super protective over the plot and stories and that. So Tom gets a lot of input from crew members, and if they come up with a good idea, even if it's during the event, we're like, yeah, fine, we'll change that. That sounds a lot better than what's down on the paper there. So we'll go with that. That sounds cool.
That's really cool. Yeah. Because, so you have, is it 60 players?
Yeah, between 50 and 60.
50 to 60 players. And you've got a limit on, is it 3 Witcher characters?
Currently have 5. Currently.
5? Yeah. Okay. So if you're wanting to turn up and play for this, you can't turn up and go, I am this Witcher. You have to get approval for it as well, don't you?
Yeah, so if you want to be a Witcher, you obviously, let us know. Email, Facebook, whatever. And we stick you on a list. When an existing Witcher gets slotted, or leaves the system for whatever reason, or doesn't turn up for a number of games, we obviously get in contact with them and judge their intention as to whether they want to... whether they're coming back or not, and just let them know that, if you're, unsure about whether you're coming back, would you mind retiring that character so we can let someone else jump in. So far, like, they've pretty much all booked. So
Yeah.
Sad face there for people, witches. But the main drive of the game isn't the Witcher, the witches in the Witcher.
No.
The title of the system is the Northern Kingdoms, so we focus on the plight of the common mercenary, the non Uber fighting mutant man, woman, whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
So this is brilliant because this is what makes me excited about it, because I love playing. I love reading the books. I love playing the games. That's great. That's a wonderful world over there. Let's go into character creation on this. So, if I'm coming along to play Northern Kingdoms for the first time, talk me through character creation, and I will come up with the dumbest character you've probably seen the really dumb characters. One of the questions actually, Pig Ink, what are your favourite player characters that people have created? So we go through both, and we'll work our way through in that. So do you have favourite characters as well? Do you sit there writing plot out and go, oh, I've got to mess with this person here?
There are certainly player characters, like some player characters are larger than life and very loud. Some player characters have just written us like reams, like we asked for a backstory, and there isn't really a character limit on the backstory. So some people have written like a paragraph or two, and other people have written like dialogue scenes to go in with different bits of their life. So, you know, as someone who chronically overwrites things, I can totally sympathise. So like certainly there are some player characters who are like are sort of unprepossessing on field and in social media presence, but they have written us like really good stuff that's very easy to get hooks into, that links into they've sort of read into the themes of the game and the books, and it's easy to sort of to plug things in and go, oh, you know, we're looking to sow a bit of tension with thing X. Well, we know person Y really cares about thing X. Yeah, there's sort of they're a mad bunch. They're a mad bunch of LARPers.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why we've got veteran tickets as a bit of a diversion in terms of to touch upon the subject of getting tickets for Northern Kingdoms. We've got a thing whereby a certain proportion of our tickets are held back for people who have already played one event with us at least. So as we've got some degree of continuity with storyline and like the officers of the company and other sort of bits and pieces.
Yeah.
And so that we're not, because we are working with an established, really, really popular intellectual property, it would be very easy for us, like if the gates were totally open, to have like 60% new players at an event, which is like we can run an event like that, but it's in terms of like running it as a LARP with continuing plot, like that poses its challenges.
Yeah. Anonymous, thank you for donating 10 quid to the Make-A-Wish charity. I really appreciate it. So for those who don't know, there's a overlay all the way around. I'm raising money for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. It's a charity that means a lot to me. And I can't watch their trailers because I end up in tears any single time I see one of those kids who gets their wish made. Yeah, I can't handle that shit. So, but yeah, thank you so much for donating, whoever it was. Someone's just Foratail has said, I didn't know there was a character limit, so I think you've saved yourself there, Tom. Okay, so I mean, backgrounds are a source of amusement for me. Anytime I write one, it's written all very tongue-in-cheek. I like to take local politics or something like that, and I make something that sort of like has poked at it a little bit. So there is a little bit of a chance of a comeback and stuff like that. So for Empire, for example, my background is literally I was running against Donald Trump. That's literally my background. But Donald Trump by a different name, obviously. So I just wanted. I was giggling away to myself when I wrote it. So that's the sort of thing I want to do. So So when it comes to character creation, then, because obviously with Empire we're spoiled with that whole system and setup. So how do you go about character creation then for Northern Kingdoms?
Yeah, so we have the document, the character creation guidelines, which can totally be broken with good enough reason. Background stuff, for example. So, if you're playing a particular class or race or something like that, that doesn't have access to something, put it in your background, drop us an email, and we can go, yeah, fine, I'll do. Yeah, have that. Really fine.
But no monsters. This isn't
No
the X-Men.
Yes, no monsters.
No
Yes, players
monsters.
can't be monsters or cursed before they come to the game.
Yeah.
When they're at
Only
the game,
curses
though.
in play.
So you'll start off by picking one of the races: humans, elves, dwarfs, or a witcher if you're lucky to, or half elves. I think they all come under elves. I don't think
Yeah.
we have a separate one for this. You either fit into the human side of it or the elf side of it.
Okay.
Or drop us an email. We'll customize something. It's totally fine. Because we love responding to the feedback and stuff like that. So we're adding extra things as plot progresses.
Nice.
And then once you picked your race, that has a bunch of pros and cons to it. Then you pick the kingdom you come from, and there's a big old list of kingdoms. And then all the benefits and the advantages and disadvantages that you get mechanically from those systems, we try to tie them in to the look and feel, I suppose, of the and the culture of those particular kingdoms. So if a kingdom's designed around guerrilla warfare and commandos and stuff like that, then you'd get like a discount on certain weapon types to buy as a character skill. That sort of thing. We've added a couple of new ones recently. Nilfgaardian defectors and people from Tucson, which are the hoity-toity, very French aristocrat look, feel, and culture to them.
Captain Two Pants donated £5.
Once you pick your kingdom, you then pick your skills. So depending on your class as well. About the class, yeah. So men at arms, mages, sources, which is very much Syria's in the books and the games, or Witcher. Again, each have got their pros and cons and stuff like that. Mages obviously have access to magic, which is a very free-form role play. There's no specific effects that, apart from certain mechanical things that are healing and repairing and teleporting people around the world and stuff. Everything's just free-form role play, apart from those things. Nice. The men at arms, obviously, your artisans, your fighters, your herbalists, healers of the mundane type. And your sources, which have some very funky powers, which are just designed around what the individual wants, really. We've got people that can just like do a quick blip from one place to another. Some people who go a bit mad and blow everything up around them, but most of the time there's a side effect to it as well. If it's fairly good thing throughout it, it's just whatever, blip from one place to another, that's fine. But if it's like I'm going to annihilate half of the monsters, then you'll be unconscious afterwards because of the physical exertion, that sort of thing. So we try and balance it as best we can with free-form abilities. There's no apart from the skills that are in the book, there's no specified special things that each character can get. It's all very, send us an email, we'll have a chat about it, and then we'll come up with something. Some things could really help you in downtime, some things can really help you in uptime, some things are very combat orientated, some things are trading related or crafting related, things like that. If a player wants to get stuck into a certain aspect of the game, we can give them that jump start then to really get involved.
So it's all very free form, very open, and that then. So you're not like a lot of places, I guess, where these are the rules, these are the class, this is what you've got. You have to stick within this. It's all very blocked off. So you're very much. We've got all of this. Exactly, Tom. We've got all of this. But yeah, it's a very. It can all expand and get bigger.
Yeah, yeah. We've got the combat rules in, obviously to make things mechanically fair. But within that, if you want to take more hits than what, if someone comes in with a massive you think it's really well role played and stuff like that, and you want to take that one hit and go, well, that would fell an ordinary person, and then you want to take a massive dive and do some epic role playing, bleeding out on the floor, even though you've still got like 4 hits left, then all the power to you, and the chances are we'll see that and reward them for it with these little coins we call fate coins, and you can use those to tilt the table to your favor, so to speak, bend the rules in your favor.
Okay, that's very interesting. So rewards for role play then is a big thing, because I like traumatic wounds at Empire, for example. For me, that's a reward for role play in a battle. That's a reward, and I love it. So the fate coins then are specifically for people who go above and beyond, essentially. So how can they be used in the game then? What sort of things can they be used for?
So if you're bleeding out on the floor, you've just taken a hit that'll fail you, and then a healer comes over to you, goes to start physicianing you, you can hand them the coin. It goes to a referee anyway at the end, but there doesn't need to be a referee there on hand to watch him. Try and trust our players to use it and keep the coin unless there's a particular circumstance that specifically says they can do that. We've had a character who can flip a coin, and if it lands the right side up, then it works fine. If it lands on the other side, it still works, but something bad might happen as a consequence of it. Like the effect gets transferred to someone else, for example. But the coins in general, they are used once, hand to a ref after the fact, or if they're there during. But if you're bleeding out on the floor, you could use it, give it to expend it, and then effectively turn around and say, it was just a flesh wound. It wasn't that bad a job. And then the physician can go, what are you lying on the floor for? Come on, get up, get back in the fight. That sort of thing. Or if there's a potential role play situation that's fairly tense with an NPC, they could use those fake coins to try and sway the conversation in their favor, or in some other fashion that that we haven't got a huge list of what you can do with these coins. Generally, they only affect you unless you're healing someone, and you can use it on someone else. You can't use them to influence other players.
No.
To your betterment. So, for example, you couldn't sway a conversation with a coin and say, "Here, now you agree with my point of view." You can't do that.
No.
But you can do that with NPCs, because ultimately they're not players; they're story tools in effect. But they've been breeding people with feelings and epic roleplay and stuff like that. Or if there's something that you're not quite sure about, you can speak to one of the referees and say that I'm planning on doing this. Is this something I can use a fake coin to influence? And they'll probably say yay or nay. More often than not, it's probably a yeah, unless it involves doing over another player.
Yeah. Okay. That's really cool. That's a really, really good idea. I like that a lot. Thank you. I forgot the name. Captain Two Pants, I think it was, donated a $5. That's awesome. And Mochi, thank you for the bits as well. It's really, really cool. Thank you so much. I have to admit, when I was looking at when I'm looking at going and I went through the rules and I was going through everything, I like the idea of playing a drunk dwarf farmer. Literally nothing special, because there was one question I wanted to ask actually, was so when everyone turns up, all the players arrive, they get the kit on, and you're getting ready to time in. Are they all at is it like you've got Anvil? Is it like at a base camp? Are they all in a specific village? Does the village move around? Is it are they all part of the same group? How's that all work?
So the player base are the Free Company.
Okay.
If you know Adew's Free Company, led by Adam Pangrat in the last of the books,
Yeah.
they are the new version of that. He doesn't lead thousands of troops anymore. Those days have his fortunes have fallen somewhat. Now he leads like a ragtag band of commandos, or he does at least when the person we've got playing the NPC doesn't have a series of either cursed afflictions stop him coming, poor sod. But yeah, they're all ostensibly members of one mercenary company. When you sign on, you're in the book. They will pay you. You can't leave for 5 years. They usually don't say the 5 years bit before people have signed on. That's caught a couple of people. But the Free Company moves from deployment to deployment all over the war and the continent and Skellige.
Yeah.
On various deployments for various employers. They were initially in the pay of the Redanian crown, and they, over the course of play, they have become gradually more and more alienated from the Redanians, and are now leaning towards some sort of a faction called the Free North, who they've been involved in sort of building. It's the idea of a Temerian-led resistance against the Imperials and against Redania, led by John Natalis. But it's all to play for. Like one day, Natalis might come into the camp next, and they go and stab him proper. In which case, we'll work out what to do with the rest of the event if they throw such a massive curveball. But you never know. You might there are some divided national loyalties in the company. We've got Kedwenis and Redanians and Temerians, and we've got the non-humans who are generally have been persecuted by everybody, and they're sort of in some ways the Free Company treat them as sort of they're all right, they're our elves, whilst also constantly being massively racist about elves.
Yeah.
So they every time they've gone to the homeland of any sort of non-human, it's gone. I'm not saying it's gone terribly badly, but they've left awful devastation in their wake, which is as part of the sort of the fail forward. The events are written, so if you don't succeed in the event's objectives, then the world doesn't end. The game world doesn't come to a conclusion. You're not all ridden down by Imperial cavalry and we restart the system. It's no, but it's an incredibly rich game world full of things, all sorts of things that all sorts of player characters care about.
Yeah.
That are very much at stake. So if you don't succeed in the critical thing, then there's every likelihood that something terrible is going to happen to someone that you care about. And then NPCs will show up in the subsequent events and won't stop talking about it.
That's cool. That's very, very cool. So how many events do you run a year?
Normally 2.
Normally the 2.
2, yeah. We're only running one main event next year.
Yeah, because you ran one, 8 days ago, wasn't it? Last weekend.
Yeah.
You ran one. So how was that?
It's the usual starts off chaotic,
Right.
chills out, then gets a bit more chaotic, and then it smooths out, and then it gets more chaotic, and then it smooths out. Yeah, it's a crazy topsy-turvy, swings and roundaboutsy world. The last event, so the event before last, we were at Chiselhurst Caves. It was an absolute nightmare to run, because there was no communications front and back of house. the crew room and to God and the player base, because you're in a cave system. There's no reception, mobile phones. You ain't got a cat and nails chance of using radios down there and everything like that. So obviously it's very sore feet after that weekend, and getting the gear in and out of the caves was
a nightmare.
tiring. I think we vowed never to run an event down there again. Not because it's a rubbish site, it's just because the
logistics,
the effort, the logistics of it is an absolute and being cramped together for a whole weekend, people can get a little mardy sometimes when their Sarkeesian rhythm is all messed up and everything. But we came away from there, and then we run our last event at Birch Hall up in Scarborough. And apart from one hill down to the player camp, it was
the true villain.
The true villain of the piece, the hill. The event was just night and day in terms of administration. My other half, who normally does a lot of the sort of God player admin side of things, wasn't able to make it. So I was doing that this time. In and out the crew room, taking accountants out, stuff like that. Basically, Tom's telling me where to go, what to do. Or I'm reffing. So this time I was mostly front of house. I didn't really have a huge amount to see behind the scenes, and from what I saw, everything was a lot, running a lot more smoothly than the caves did. And but that's not really saying a lot, because it was an absolute nightmare. But we had a lot more space. And having a well organized crew room, everything in a place, was a hell of a lot easier to run than most other sites we've been to. Apart from that hill, Birch Hall was great. Players had their indoor accommodation for out characterness, and they had their camp. It was grand. Currently looking at dates for the next one, putting it to the crew. Because there's try not to clash with other stuff, which is always difficult.
Pig Ink says it was awesome being a dwarf in the caves, though.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. It was their thing. They put a lot of effort into writing a lot of background laws of the caves when it came to non-dwarfs, that sort of thing.
For atmosphere and the sort of encounters that it enabled us to run, like having this huge network of caves and tunnels and various crawl spaces and buildings in there, like it was a dream playground. I think if we'd had 20 players instead of like 50 plus, like the caves would have been much more suited, and like cave madness would have affected us a lot less. But like there was some beautiful encounter opportunities in there when they fought the centipede, for example. We've got Olga has made us an absolutely beautiful, like 9-foot long UV glow in the dark centipede that had silly string for paralyzing spit, and a couple of big blacksmith lads with huge shoulders just to heave the puppet around like a Chinese New Year dragon dance, chasing them through the tunnels and like popping up behind things and spitting on them and then scuttling away. You could do that in the woods, you could, but it wouldn't be the same.
Yeah, chasing them down with UV silly string and then having a UV light just to check if there's anything on them, and then if there was, give them a special card. That was a trick. Yeah. Shout out to Olga Maximenko for that. She's done a couple of costumes for us. Darren Stocker's also done a costume for us.
And the inimitable Dan Tuck, who does so much in terms of makeup and his Dogbane suits and all sorts.
Dogbane special effects. Daddy Dan, we call him backstage, because he's like backstage dad. He's phenomenal. Pretty much all our sort of person-sized costumes, full body, head to ankles. He's done, and they're absolutely fantastic.
So Captain Two Pants has said, players leave mild devastation in their wake, and the writing team clap their hands with pure, unadulterated joy.
Yeah, after a nervous breakdown.
Yeah. I mean, to quote Tom
Or
on
maybe
this
maybe
one,
it's maybe it's
"Ooh,
me
I'm
having
clapping
a
myself."
it's Tom clapping, me having a nervous breakdown in the corner.
I think when you run anything, that's the sign of a good event, though, isn't it? If you come out of it absolutely drained, then you know it's all gone so Pete Tong that the players have loved every second of it.
Yeah, I'm constantly paranoid that not enough's happening, and it's because I'm not seeing what's going out the door all the time. I'm just not seeing everything go out. I'm only seeing snapshots, when I come back to the crew room. But
Yeah,
there's loads of stuff happening. I think one of our players turned around and went, there was so much that going on. I did not know what to do, like not in a bad way, but in a good way.
Yeah.
She was one of the, I suppose, officers of the company, because players normally vote for who they want to be in charge.
Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Doesn't always work like that, but
No, I think when it comes to a vote or anything like that in a social, political sort of world, it is always going to go tits up more than the way people want it to. Helen's asked, is it difficult to recreate the monsters in The Witcher, or do you try to avoid using monsters as the baddies?
well, who are the worst monsters of all?
King Radamid.
Beings,
Human
beings.
I think the elves, personally.
Yeah, elves. Who needs them? What are we going to do about them?
Yeah. So going back to the monsters, yeah, I think they're referring specifically to the monster, that the post-conjunction creatures, rather than the broad spectrum of who is a monster. Well, you are. I think creating the bigger, especially non-humanoid looking monsters is difficult. The only non-humanoid one we've got is the centipede. The rest of them are built around a two-legged, two-armed, one-head, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
We do have a decent host of creatures, things that we've had out, and these aren't really spoilers because they've already been out. We've had a Leshen, we've got a Leshen costume, Striga, Trollolol from the games. We've just specifically had the Rock Troll come in.
Love the Rock Troll.
Or Hugh Man, as we call him now, because he's trying to disguise himself as not a Rock Troll in some comedic fashion.
Yeah.
He was at the masquerade ball.
Really?
Yes. We're allowing players to run their own events as well within reason. So.
Oh wow.
They had the masquerade ball because you get a lot of keen, and with real life things, it's difficult to run more than, for myself anyway, it's more difficult to run more than 2 events a year. So we said, players want to run something, absolutely, here's some guidelines. Can't have this, can't have this. Let us know. As long as one of us comes along, we pay, tickets and accommodation or whatever are paid for. We'll come along and we'll ref it, sanction it if there's anything official that needs to sign off. Back to monsters. Striga, Rock Troll, Leshen. We got this horrible looking muscle man thing. What else?
Water hag.
Water hags. That's sort of a more human, outsized costume. Neckers, drowners, ghouls, rock fiends.
The works.
Noon wraiths.
A Heim.
A Heim, yes. The shadow wraith thing. Yeah. I think that's it.
Bruxes.
Oh, the Bruxer, yeah, vampire type creatures. Oh, I know, and some various masks and things like that we can do multiple things with.
So there's a lot.
Yeah,
a lot.
Yeah, quite a few.
That's really cool.
My shed and my neighbour's shed. Bless him. I need to get. I need to clear. I need to get a storage unit.
Yeah. Pete's asked, is there a penalty imposed on anyone singing "Toss a Coin" to your Witcher?
Only by the other players.
Yeah. We don't consider the TV show canon to this system, because it's set during the books. It's an alternative telling of books. So the books for us are canon, and the games, because the games come after the books.
Yeah.
But that being said, if you want to, some of the songs from the TV show are fine. Just that one song, because everyone was singing it when the series came out, and it was, twitchy eye.
But then that was during COVID, so we didn't really have to endure an event where everyone was banging on with it.
Yeah.
First one after that was Event 4 in Tucson. They all, in terms of music, they all behaved themselves. God, they didn't behave themselves in anything else.
So it sounds like you've got a really nice set of core players, I guess. And then is it? I think Helen asked earlier, are you planning on growing at all? So instead of going 50-60, go up to maybe 60-70 or 70-80 players. Is there any plans to do that?
No, and I don't think we will. Simply because having originally it was 50, and then we sort of went, we could probably maybe squeeze in an extra few more, but it came down to the amount of prep work involved in the character administration and things like that, and then also the plot, writing the plot for that amount of people, and also getting the crew to come along as well. We've got to think at the last event we had a nice balance. We had about, I think, a third crew numbers compared to the players. Something like that. It was a third to half. On paper, we were expecting about 50% of the player base, equal as crew. But with illnesses and dropouts and things like that, I think we had about a third of the player numbers in crew, which is really good, because it allowed us to do quite a bit, do multiple things at once. But I think with more players, there's less, spread the plot too thin upon the bread of the event.
Yeah. Highlands has asked about if you're thinking of bringing in a Kikimora, or if you would like to. I suppose a giant insect.
Isn't it always we've got a giant multi-person puppet in the form of the centipede at the moment, so you've got a proof of concept, albeit that the centipede is basically a tube. In terms of something that's got 16 legs, multiple attack modes, wings, and is part plant, it's a challenge. Kikimora is a very specific monster. Unlike, say, a fiend, which would be another sort of a big puppet monster, but you could have that as a fiend, you could have that as a chort, you could have that as the form that a demon takes, you could have that appear during a dream sequence and say prophecies to them. It's something that can plausibly talk, that can interact. You can get a lot of oomph out of it, as opposed to Kikimora, which is a non-speaking poisonous plant monster. In terms of bang for a buck, we'd probably shy away from that in particular. It's sort of one of the reasons why we went with Troll, is because they can speak and they can be calm and they can be non-calm encounters.
Yeah.
We like to sort of to get bang to our buck, to broaden our stable. In fairness, sort of we like the variety, and I like sort of being able to, basically making Simon pack more and more stuff into the van. It's they fought a troll last time. Well, yeah, but this time they're going to have a big social encounter and a puzzle with the troll. But we still need the suit. Sort of bits and pieces. So Kikimora, probably not. But watch this space for other bonkers stuff that we think up, and see if we can get someone to build for us.
Yeah, that's very cool.
We try to introduce something new each year. With the person-sized stuff, it's a lot easier to get more made. But yeah, the big stuff, we obviously have to sit down and plan out. Do we need it? That's the first one. Does it fit within the plot, and things like that? And how much is it going to cost?
Yeah. I think that's it. It always comes down to money, doesn't it? At the end of the day, it's the big thing.
Yeah. We try not to make the game prohibitively expensive.
No.
So I mean, the tickets are 80 quid, but we split that. You know, we do deposit tickets to start off with, so it becomes a lot more affordable for people who don't have the £80 right there and then. You know.
Yeah. So how would you recommend them for someone who really wants to go but is never able to get a ticket, like me?
Common crew. Yeah.
Just common crew. So
yeah, definitely. You'll get a good feel of it. Yeah.
Ideally, the more crew you get, the better. Always.
Very much so. The fewer times we have to respawn people in big fights, the more options we've got around what encounters we're putting out. Like ultimately, the more downtime we're able to give crew, the more time we're able to leave embedded NPCs in place, the more time we're able to put encounters in, and then when we do a check-in with them with an on-field ref, and they're going like, oh, they're really biting this particular thing. I've had an idea. Can we do X, Y, and Z with it? And sort of there's a little bit of a to and fro over raging. And they go like, you can tell them about why, but you've got to be back here before 6. Sort of thing. Like the more crew we've got, like the more we can entertain the bizarre flights of fancy that go on in the process of play.
Yeah.
And like usually the earlier we can release people like out into the wild to eat, drink, and be merry in the evening.
Yeah.
And of course, if the intent is to come and play, you've got massive access to ourselves to help you as well.
Yeah, it's all very, very cool. I was going to ask, so when it comes to the game itself, because it's not all just about going over and hitting monsters on the head and stuff like that. There's obviously going to be a large social, political aspect to the game as well, because the entire world is literally being run in a court. In parties and courts, you've got the thrones, you've got all of this, so there's a lot of stuff going on there. So do you capitalize on all of that very rich political stuff that's going on as well? So you get the people who turn up who don't want to play. I don't want to be a big fighty person. I want to be there and be the more diplomatic, social, intrigue sort of character. So do you have a lot of stuff for them as well, and for them to get their teeth into?
As much as we can. Like the free company are never deployed to to curse there. Never deployed to Skeleton Horse Redania, or somewhere that's at the backside of nowhere that no one gives a flip about. They're always at the beating heart of the war. It's a thing, sort of an ethos that as translates from tabletop roleplay around the players need not be the most powerful people in a situation. In fact, nearly always they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But they need to be the most important people in the narrative.
Yeah.
So they've been to there are fairly high stakes in a lot of their deployments, but they meet important people. They are involved in important things, and the actions that they take over the course of an event, or multiple events, or events plus downtimes, have ramifications and echoes in terms of what's going on. We had a couple of events ago. We had a pretty in the caves. In fact, we had a pretty memorable trial scene. A couple of the player characters. We've got some very eccentric NPCs, put out by some of our marvelously expressive, evocative crew that can they step into the camp and the whole camp is electrified. It's their playground when some of these NPCs come to town. But they some of the player characters crossed one of those NPCs and developed a rivalry with them. And then as part of their downtime, they broke into his house and dyed his hair as a clown wig and left Donkey in his bed. And they got interrupted by his mistress, who sort of went, "Oh, you have started without me," and blew the candle out. And so they all ran away. It was an exciting time. But he's friends and distantly related to Grand Duchess Anna Henrietta.
Yeah.
So they were they'd also done a load of good stuff for the resistance in Toussaint. since in our narrative Toussaint has risen in rebellion against the Empire because of the actions of the player characters doing things. But they helped the resistance, so they were summoned to speak before the Grand Duchess, and they went, "Oh, we are going to get medals." And then the person in the summon says, "You can also bring a lawyer," and they were like, "Oh." So they appeared in court, and we had a trial scene, and their defense lawyer desperately trying to shut them up. Again, one of the other player characters. It was a matter of like not getting beheaded, not getting their ancestral lands taken off them. And still like trying to keep one up over this NPC that they'd crossed, so they ended up in basically in thrall to him. He's giving them elocution lessons, and basically has to like shows up every so often and tells them what to do and belittles them, while they seethe and plot their revenge. But maybe like grow to appreciate him as a person. I don't know. Maybe they'll kill him. But yeah, sort of they meet the great and the good. A lot of the time, the great and the good look at them and go, "Ugh." Because they are dirty mercenaries, or in a lot of cases, dirty non-humans, or in some of their cases, like they went to Mahakam and the dwarves were not delighted. A lot of stuff's happened in Mahakam. They had a visitation from Bruverhoog last event to try and put right some of the terrible things that they'd done in Mahakam. I think the company is in debt. The company is in debt to a couple of people.
Right.
But one of the player characters ended up taking on the debt because in his background he's the heir of a dwarven banking fortune. So his dad sort of just offered Bruverhoog his inheritance to smooth things over. I didn't get to participate in that scene as much as it was conducted at volume by the member of crew playing Hoog, much to the delight of everyone not involved in losing their inheritance. But you could basically hear the player grinding his teeth as tens of thousands of crowns and it sort of left his future for the transgressions of the player characters. But to zoom back down into sort of what's going on in the non-com stage, like we put lots of non-com stuff out. We've got a decent chunk of our players who are non or partial com. So we send in merchants and con men and priests and people with problems, people with solutions, people with things to sell them. Like the world of the Witch is really, really rich.
Yeah.
And it's nice being able to we'd like being able to put non-com encounters out and when people have been running around in the woods for an hour, it's like you can send out an hour of people with opinions. And in that, there can be someone who wants to fight for money. In there can be a gambler who tries to cheat and maybe gets hanged. In there can be a spy. It's sort of we paint with all the colours in the palette.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. 48,000 crowns.
Doesn't even touch the damage they've done.
Really? Love it.
Yeah, this is. I mean, we put this in a pre-downtime thing, so like everyone in system knows. But the event in the caves, their principal objective was rescuing Princess Ada, which they were very successful in doing. Well done. The people who paid you are very happy that you've done this thing. One of the secondary objectives was find out what's going on with these earth tremors. And various PCs were seeded in with various bits of plot in downtime and in uptime of the event as to what was going on. There was an amazing prop put together for us by Alex and Gordon of a one-way mirror where like apparitions could appear in the mirror and mess with them. But there was a plot line around containing a tremendously powerful vampiric entity, the Lilith, as alluded to in the mythology of the Black Sun.
Yeah.
And things were going all right. But in the inimitable style of player characters, when came the time of like, right, you have to sacrifice someone to the mirror in order to stop the vampire, like the vampiric quasi deity coming out and ruining everything. with the strong implication that the way she was going to ruin everything was by causing a volcano. When it came to let's sacrifice someone to the mirror, they went, oh, we've captured it was a complicated event with lots of various plot lines going through it. They went, oh, we've spent a lot of this event capturing a wizard who was raising mind-controlling worms and trying to dominate the world. But we've defeated them, we've thrown them down, they're our prisoner now. We don't really have much use for them whilst they're our prisoner, but we could feed them to the mirror and then none of us have to die. Having not read the tome very carefully, it's like you sacrifice the person to the mirror and they are a willing sacrifice and they spend the next 100 years holding back the evil thing. So they said to the evil mastermind whose life's work they had ruined 2 hours previously, would you like to be sacrificed to the mirror? You have to say yes or we'll torture you to death. And so they said, yes, I'll do that. And they said, oh, you better not be lying and going to try and release the terrible evil once we put you in. You're not going to do that, are you? And the NPC said, no, I promise not to do that. And they went, we'll use our Witcher signs on you to make sure that you're not lying to us. And Axie and the very powerful mage who was at the time wearing anti-magic shackles went, oh yes, I'm totally affected by that, Axie, and I definitely won't do the terrible thing that you're now telling me it will be within my power to do. So they plugged the big bad evil person into the saving the world machine, and as a result they got a volcano, and a lot of game and a lot of plot and a lot of exciting things happened. But yes, there's a volcano in Mahakam, and it's massively affected all of the political spectrum of everything that's going on with the dwarves. It's affected the war. It's affected the one of the prophecies they were following is broken now, as the Oracle, one of the three terrifying people in that picture, has told them. It's really put the cat amongst the pigeons. It's been a lovely exercise in writing and seeing how huge player action affects the world. But we're about the consequences. So they in credit where credit's due, Alex wrote a lot of the Lilith related plot, and she sort of went, well, because this book does explain how to summon Lilith, I suppose if they do choose to summon Lilith, here are some items that Lilith will give them. Well, I basically asked, are there some items or some reward Lilith will give them? Like, yes, there are. There are vampire-related items that we can put in the game that the Vampire Queen will give them for freeing her. But they freed her on accident, and then they tried to stab her. So they didn't even get the special vampire items either. But it was a matter of well, I suppose we have sort of planned for if they either stuff this plot or deliberately go against it. They might have gone we don't like the dwarves and the non-humans. We're all about the human ascendancy. Let's make this volcano happen on purpose. Never know with players, but sort of we were not blindsided in terms of our writing this time as to the players seeing a button marked apocalypse and pushing it with both hands. It's all levers, it's all games, it's all incredible. And I certainly don't one of the things I want to be careful with is to I'm not critical of the players for this decision making as much as it seems like the characters did as stupid. It's been great fun, and people come to the event to have fun. The game is about about the progress of the wars of the Northern Kingdoms. It's not about the inevitable success of the Northern Kingdoms. It might be if at the end of everything, they totally crash and burn and all die in one apocalyptic battle at the end. It'll be a bittersweet ending, but it'll be a meaningful ending in terms of the narrative we put in front of them. If they want to ride the free company like they stole it, then power to them. We will write that for them. It's one of the joys of not being sort of locked into a narrative or indeed a business model where it's we have to still be running this game in 8 years. It's if they crash it, then let's run a car crash.
Yeah, definitely. So as Highlands has said, flawless, truly flawless. He says, hate it when suddenly volcanoes happen. No, not the consequence volcanoes. This is why you never give someone a big red button that says "Do not push," or this is exactly why you do this, depending on what's funniest. It's the big red button is fun. That sounds. I mean, it's the whole fuck around, find out thing, isn't it? Essentially, and that sounds like great fun. So I am stealing "Ride It Like You Stole," and I'm going to use it in D&D every chance I get. Thank you. Excellent.
Yeah, man. You ride that like a rented mule.
Yeah. So what are your plans? So over the next couple of years then for Northern Kingdoms, what would you like to see happen? Because I mean, obviously, if the player base isn't growing, would you like it to get to the point where you've got a waiting list of, say, 200 players, or could you imagine?
No, we don't.
There would be so much pressure. They'd send us messages. I don't want that.
Yeah. Yeah, my partner would hang, draw, and quarter me, I think, if I started to run more events. I think leaning on player-run events more often. Is the way to go. Like Empire have done, Lorien Trust, stuff like that, where they have factional events, nation events, group events, stuff like that. People want to run them. Absolutely. There's just certain caveats, little hoops they need to jump through, things like that. Obviously, making sure that the plot they write for their event isn't going to supplant or subvert, any of the plot that Tom and his team have planning on and things like that. But we've got a rough idea of sort of the plot meanderings, but no plan survives first contact, so those plans inevitably change.
Okay.
I certainly don't want to artificially string out and prolong the game system.
No.
Just to draw it out, and if the game comes to an inevitable conclusion, then we'll have a think then whether to do a system reset or do something different or something along those lines. But yeah, I don't want to be one of these game runners that it's that system they've been running for years, they're just stringing the plot along,
you don't want that. Okay, so
sorry, like Tom said, if they run the plot into a ditch and set themselves on fire, then it's an ending.
We'll toast marshmallows over them.
Yes, we shall have a great end of event party.
I suppose, I mean, with stuff like that though, if the entire company has got itself brutally set on fire and mutilated, then the next event is literally, an NPC who was part of it who weren't there, they've started up the company elsewhere, and
But at the same time, we do want to give players breathing room to complete the objectives that they want to try and complete. So like system roadmap is always something we're thinking about. We haven't planned too far ahead,
because volcano consequences.
Because of volcanoes and stuff, so you can't, you have to sort of, to some degree, fly by the seat of your pants. Because there are so many cogs in the work. You've got volcanoes and vampire apocalypse. You have Northern War against Nilfgaard. That's still going on. You have religious zealotry, from the Order of the Flaming Rose and the Church of the Eternal Fire, and Skelligans doing Skelligan stuff, raiding and whatnot, drinking beer and things, mages trying to, I don't know, do whatever mages do, try and burn everything down,
Yeah, that's really, really cool. So so when it comes to, because I'm just aware of the time, because I've got a small one that has to go to bed at 9 because she's got school in the morning.
Nicht problemski.
So when it comes to players wanting to play and stuff like that, so they've got their character, do you have like minimal kit requirements?
No, we do have some requirements on materials for armor specifically. So like we don't allow polyurethane armor.
Okay.
Try and steer clear of aluminium chainmail where possible. But we're not so so hot on aluminium chainmail. But obviously the preference is not to use it. But as for kit requirements, we try to positively reinforce the standards rather than saying no, you can't do that, which I know the Witcher School have done previously, and fair play to them for running the system they've done. But like players don't need to submit pictures of their kit to us. Quite happy to let them crack on. Players tend to, I wouldn't say police themselves, but they positively reinforce themselves, and part of our efforts to positively reinforce this is to offer a kind of MVP prize at the end of the event. I suppose MVP is probably like maybe an exaggerated term for it, but it's basically a reward for the player at the event who we think who has sort of gone above and beyond kit, role play, stuff they've gotten involved in. So generally, it's like a tankard, an engraved tankard that we try to make for them. I'm a bit behind on getting the previous winners their stuff, but I will get around to it.
I won't.
But what we do, is we ask the crew, have a think about all the interactions you've had, combat, non-combat with players, and nominate 3 or 4 players who you think of are worthy of the power of Thor, and then they nominate them, and then we get the previous player winners to have a think about who they will vote for out of those people. And I think on this one we had a brand new player win it this time.
Nice.
Yeah, brand new.
That's a really, really cool idea, and it's a positive thing. It reinforces roleplay, kit, the whole shebang. That's fantastic. It's a really nice thing to hear LARP runners doing as well. I love it. So yeah, hats off to that. So well done. That was really condescending. Well done, you. Well done. No, really well done though. That was amazing. That's an amazing idea. That's a really, really cool idea.
It works in a system of this size where like everyone's had the chance to engage with everybody else.
Yeah.
If there were like 100 people on field, it'd be a popularity contest. But being as there's like 50 people and you've all been crammed under the same canvas for like the whole of the weekend, like we've never had anyone sort of nominations. People go, who? It's, as mechanics go, it's pretty good. In terms of also like keeping the kit standards or inspiring people to bring and wear a lovely kit. I've got to say the fantastic work of our photographers, papping away, getting everyone in their cool costume, getting everyone in their cool camp setups. Particularly, we're fortunate to have some people who are who love the setup of the camp. And have got some little amazing sort of things that wouldn't look out of place, like at the back of the field at the Battle of Poitiers or anywhere similar. And the forge, we've got a forge with real blacksmiths and real fire.
Really?
Yeah. Don't put your props in it, Jesus.
Pete's asked, what would you say is the biggest challenge of attending this LARP?
For us or for the players?
I mean, in my opinion, Pete, it's the tickets. It's getting it's such a popular LARP, mate, that getting a ticket is the first challenge. So if you want to, Pete, come crew with me. I'm gonna go crew, so come crew with us, and and we'll see if we can drag a shitload of the Hefty fam along to come and crew for you.
Yeah. We will. Like Tom said, a portion of our tickets, set aside for what we say veteran players, but we do advertise the tickets before they go out. So keep an eye out on the Facebook page, on the website. And we'll announce them. I'm hoping to, as I said earlier in the stream, we're currently discussing doing a poll within the crew base about what date fits best with the crew. For the next event. I think the current dates is something like start of July. I think is currently the one that's winning at the moment. But we'll see how that goes. So effectively, the veteran tickets will go out at the same time as the general tickets, and then after about a week, which hasn't happened yet because literally last event's tickets sold out in 15 minutes. The intention after a week is for them to get rolled in with the general tickets after that. But
that's cool.
That's not happened yet. Like Tom said, going back to the photographers, fantastic photographers. Gordon Cherrett, Ben, who I can't remember his second name. Ben Smith.
Agent B. Smith.
Him.
Yeah, Ben.
Yeah, he's been to a couple of our events. Tony Bursden's done a few as well. Did we have?
I think their pictures of our monsters have won awards where we have yet to win awards. We're a little bit spicy about that.
No, we're not. No, we're not spicy at all. It's the nominations.
Definitely not dying inside.
No, it's the nominations for awards that make me happy, not necessarily the award winning themselves, because it's the players that nominate you. It's a committee that decides who wins ultimately.
Yes, it is. Speaking as someone who's been nominated but never won, it's I don't care. It's a committee. No one gives a shit. Having your players care enough and having your community care enough to nominate you is enough.
It's a lot more important for me to be shortlisted than.
That's all that matters. That is literally all that matters. That's all I care about. So, definitely not salty. But Kit says, all this talk of Kit is confusing my brain, who is half listening in, because his name's Kit.
Wow. Yeah, thanks for letting us know.
Yeah, cheers, Kit.
Does Kit have Kit?
He does.
Kit.
When we're packing for LARP, when we're packing to go to Empire and stuff like that, we used to have to call him Stuff. As well. So, but yeah, I think I'll see if I can get, because I really want to come to this. I really want to go to this, and I know I can drag people with me. Helen has asked if you need crew for like all the admin side of stuff.
Always.
Because that's I think that's where her talents will lie and stuff.
Yeah.
So
whether it's organising, shouting at people, to loudly asking people stuff.
Yeah. So
there's always 1,000 things to do in a busy crew room. You've got incoming encounters, you've got a D-kit, get that packed away and cleaned. You've got outgoing encounters where you sometimes need to sequester kit to the side.
So much laminating.
Yeah, put resources in boxes, take resources out of boxes, find what boxes someone else has put resources in. Like, has this been printed? Read the encounters. Like, oh, secret map. Has anyone drawn a secret map? No. Draw a secret map immediately. Other bits and pieces and sort of juggling. We've had Craig step up very, very ably the last couple of events. Sort of, Craig came to our system because he had a dream that he was at our system and spent the whole event making bread. So like it became an in-joke. So then we sort of poked him until he came along. He had quite a nice time at the cave, sort of stepping into the organising that sort of the back end of God role, and was invaluable at this last event. So like E10, we're going to buy him a bread oven or something, but like we've got to make this prophecy come true.
Someone please clip that. I need to see that again. Please clip that. Fucking hell. I had a dream. That's amazing.
Yeah, it came to him in a dream.
But I don't know if I've got a channel for Northern Kingdoms in the Discord, but what I can do is I'll put a call out for crew for it, and I'll see if we can get a load of people to come along and support, because, I mean, obviously when me and Digby are doing this Two Chaps Go LARPing stuff now, where we want to visit as many LARPs around the world as we can, So
Yeah, we've got in other news, we've got one of our crew is now stepping into creating his own system
ooh.
up in Scotland. A guy called Ian, which is based on Lord of the Rings.
I've heard of this one. Is this the one that's being run in the little village?
Yeah, Duncarron.
Duncarron, that's it. Yeah, I've heard of this one. I think I've actually put my name down for it already. I'm on the mailing list for this, so I think Digby has as well. Yeah, Highlands. Yes, it's in Scotland, mate.
Yeah, we're yeah, definitely. I think it's outside of just north of Glasgow.
Yeah,
I think
just north of Glasgow.
Yeah, between Glasgow and Stirling. He sort of went like, why do I know LARPs in Scotland? Why do I have to travel 5 hours to get to any sort of LARP? Doing here.
I'd have to fly.
Yeah, I think he chatted to the organisers of the site, and they were keen to get LARP into Duncarron.
Clearly not had LARPers there before.
They've obviously not met one, not met a LARPer before.
But it's factored in quite a bit into when we want to run our events, because we want to give him as much chance to flourish, because some of our crew are going up to crew his event, hopefully myself included. So
yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, have to get involved in all of that. Yeah, I think because I'm just I said 20 minutes ago. I'm keeping an eye on the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna have to call it there. But I've loved this. I was so obviously don't jump out of the chat or anything because it will fuck up my little screens until I've actually ended the stream. I will end you both. Just saying. Just throw that one out there. Yeah, that Duncarron. This has been so much fun. I've been looking forward to this for a very long time, and I have said on numerous occasions. I think I've even said to Tom, I want to talk about this LARP on stream. But this has been going on for on and on and on and on and on. So this has been so much fun.
Thank you.
I'm very keen to come along and do this, and if you're okay with us turning up to do a bit of filming behind the scenes and stuff like that to show it all off and things, it was well, I've actually got the mics now, I've got the tripods, I've got everything I need, so I'm actually becoming a proper content creator. It's disgusting. I hate it. Great chat. Thank you, Nikki. This will all get put onto YouTube as well, so feel free to share it wherever you want, and that so people can come and see.
Stick it on the website. We'll stick it on our website if you're happy with that.
Yeah. Obviously. Anyone say anything? No, that's it. But yeah, we'll create a little. I'll create a channel as well, so I can put the links in, and so any thing that you want to put out as well, you will have free reign to advertise as you see fit and stuff, and post any promo things that you want. So it'll be more than happy to do it. Anything to promote LARP in my eyes, and this one is a lot. Sounds like so much fun. Really up my alley. Really does. I'll start prepping for July for it. So where's the first one likely to? Is that up near Scarborough?
That's the one that's just gone.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. So where's this?
The next site we'll be using is most likely Console, which is near Stoke-on-Trent.
Yeah. Okay. So near Stoke then. That's fine. Yep. We'll get that sorted, and I'll also see if we can get a nice big boost to your crew as well.
Fantastic.
Always. See if Helen will come along and do your admin for you as well. Not that I'm volunteering her for this, but we'll have a lot of fun with it. So we're going to raid someone quickly because I'm quite tired. I know the cameras will turn off for some reason. Let's raid Mini Arcana because they always raid me now, which is lovely. So yeah, go and give them some love. I think they're playing Resident Evil at the moment. So yeah, take care everyone, and if you do hang around, I've got a couple of questions for you off of screen. And I'll speak to you all soon. Take care, everyone in the chat. Thank you for watching.
Bye bye.